Hello there and welcome back to another edition of the Hot Lap Classic Remastered. This time we're taking a look at the 1995 Nismo 400R prototype, also known in the base game as the Preceding model, which is spelt wrong in the game, because of course it is. This is, of course, the prototype to the Nismo 400R, which would begin production in '96. This isn't the original prototype. The original prototype was silver, then it got turned into speed yellow, and now this is chassis 001. So this is also, interestingly enough, the only Nismo 400R that was speed yellow. The rest of them are all different colours, but this is actually the only one that was speed yellow, which I think is the iconic colour, to be honest with you, to the Nismo 400R. I think it looks absolutely exquisite in this colour. I'm very interested to see how this gets along, because this shouldn't just be a good looking car, this should be a good performer in theory. The standard road going Nismo 400R admittedly does have a race mod, but that is by far and away the quickest Skyline that we've had to go around the course, and the Nismo ones tend to do pretty well. Even the 4-door as well did pretty well as well. That is like the second quickest Skyline we've had, so be interesting to see how this one gets along. I do remember hearing a while ago that this one apparently handles even better than the standard car, so I guess we'll put that to the test today. Four-wheel drive, 649 horsepower, 1,379 kilos. At its heart, it is still very much a Skyline statistically. To find out how the Nismo 400R prototype is going to get along, it is going to get 6 laps of the Motorsports Land track in order to set the best time it possibly can. Our current leader is the Suzuki Cultus Pikes Peak version. That car's at a time of a 26.540. The Nismo 400R prototype is unlikely to beat that. Now, in terms of where this is going to go, the standard Nismo 400R sits in 38th place with a 28.4. Its 4-door equivalent, so that is the Nismo Skyline GTR All-Tech version, that's at a time of 28.8, which was 0.3 quicker than the standard road-going All-Tech version. So, gives you an idea of how they perform there. That was a bit of a dead stop. To be honest with you, I could probably style that out if I'd kept going, but never mind. Straight away, I've got to be honest, this does not handle as good as the standard car does. Now again, the way I drove the standard car was with race mod, but you could tell when I was driving that, or I could tell when I was driving it, that there was something special to the way that drove. It really felt very, very planted, great turning grip, and a good amount of downforce on the rear. This 29.001 does not feel like that. This feels much more like a standard Skyline does. Feels very heavy. It has a little bit of wiggle on the rear end, which sort of bites it on its way out of the corners. I mean, there is some good to being a Skyline. I mean, obviously it's still a hyper-powerful four-wheel drive car, which means it is still pretty darn quick, to be perfectly honest, considering sort of what this is. But you do have to worry about when to get on the power. Another thing as well, like the Nismo 400R as well, is the gearbox on this. Second gear is a tad too short, or tad too long, really, when coming out of the corners. It does make it difficult to sort of stomp on the pedal and get going, so definitely an issue there. But again, that was in the base car as well, and in fact that's sort of a Skyline issue in general. Skylines, a lot of people don't know this, but Skylines are very long geared. I remember in my old Forza Motorsport days, the R33, which is a car I really like, has a very long gearbox, to the line 28.887. Interesting. Yeah, not as quick as the 4-door Skyline. Admittedly, I think that one had a little bit more power, which would help it punch out of the corners a little bit better. And again, about 0.5, 0.4 down on the standard 400R. I suppose that's to be expected. Race mod really does help these cars out, just because it gives them the downforce needed on the rear end, and it lightens them, because they're quite heavy from default. There's some time in there, definitely. I mean, I sort of nailed Sector 3 on that first lap, just getting it out of the corner. But then again, I also overshot into the braking zone, as I've spoke about before. Sector 1, the timing marker for it is right in a braking zone. So if you sort of overshoot and mess up your Sector 2, it makes it look like you've got a quicker Sector 1. So it's why you can't put too much trust into the sector times. But I'm pretty happy with that. I think I got most of what you can out of that, to be perfectly honest. I think that's roughly operating at the ceiling of it. I think maybe you could take 0.1 out of it if you really sort of kept going at it over and over again. But outside of that, you would struggle. A 28.887 will put it into 61st place. Goes in between the Mitsubishi GTO Twin Turbo 92 and the Nissan Skyline Unicia GX. It's actually quicker than quite a decent load of the GTOs. They also seem to congregate around there. Quicker than an Impreza Wagon 5, quicker than the Castrol GT500 Supra. I mean, in terms of things quicker than this, there's the 4-door Nismo Skyline we've spoke about, and the Nismo 400R, but that is still the third quickest Skyline we've had, and that includes the race cars as well. So yeah, still pretty good effort overall from the Nismo 400R. Maybe not quite as good as I was hoping. I was really hoping the stories about this being better than the 400R were true, and we'd really have like an under 28 contender, but I think that was more sort of dreaming on my part. Anyways, that's it for this episode. Thank you all very much for watching. Join me next time when we're going to be taking a look at our 500th car to go around the course. Until then, farewell.